talk about abusing hypermedia in this talk. Things that should never be done in hypermedia, we have done. I can guarantee it. Oh.
All right, so first off, I'm Nate Maile, software engineer at Equifax. I write code by day. I'm a failing YouTuber and bad streamer by night. It's great on the weekends. I like to fly planes and race cars. It's very cool. Also, CEO of HTMX. Thank you.
I'm Jon-Michael, software engineer for a telecommunications company. I just really like the technology surrounding the web. I've been using the web since PHP. And I'm a JavaScript hater and the CEO of HTMX.
So this presentation is going to be very interactive. I have a task for everyone. If you could pull up your laptop, and I'm going to make you type in that link because this really only works on a laptop. A cell phone, it won't work, which is why we didn't do a QR code. Has nothing to do with my own personal laziness. And then for the viewers at home, we're going to be talking about this thing called HTMX. I know everyone in here, you don't want to hear about it. But basically, the way the internet works is a server sends your computer an HTML document. The computer knows what that means, puts stuff on the screen. Modern web developers have decided, you know what, we don't want to do it that way. We're going to send your computer a full application, and then that application will generate a bunch of HTML documents that then it sends back to your computer, and then it turns that into a website or whatever. It's nonsense, and HTMX remedies that by saying, hey, how about we just send you a portion of a document if we just want to update a small portion of a document? And as you'll see, we update a whole lot more than a small portion of a document. What else we got? Okay. So the next thing we'll get into how we got into this abuse of HTMX that we have been perpetrating across the web. This is the video. So it was one Friday night. I was just streaming. I was trying to learn about HTML Canvas.
Let's try to make something. Let's make like a Flappy Bird or something. It's Flappy Bird. And I did really show them. Look at this. It's both a web front end and a video game at the same time. So if any of you haters, everyone talk smack, just know, pretty much the best program in the world. That's all there is to it. Let's try to make something. Let's make like a flat.
Only I could just okay, there we go. And I was a hater, as a matter of fact. I thought that I could do better using HTMX, which arguably worse, but definitely cooler. So, you know, what can I say? So this is link 1. Hopefully it works.
Oh, it'll work. No one's ever had a problem with a live demo. So you press J to jump. Look at this. Now, of course, we never load tested this thing.
Yeah, we don't.
Like, this is legit. Now, if we inspect element.
Yeah.
It's HTMX! Let's go! That's what I'm talking about. That's what a real website should look like. All you haters out there said it shouldn't be done.
It'll burn up your CPU.
CPU, CPU. We got Moore's Law on our side, right? That's a thing.
Also, it doesn't like different screen sizes. You gotta do 16 by 9.
Yeah, we're back-end developers. So why don't you tell them how it works?
Okay. So I have a little diagram here. Let's see. How do you make this a full screen?
One of these buttons, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of them. Okay. So I have a little diagram here. It shows kind of how it works. Over here you have your bird and all your pipes and all that. And they're all composed of these CSS tags, I guess, or CSS classes, and they're all uniquely identified. So I can change the position in real time. And originally, I was just bringing in the HTML and then attaching the CSS to it, but it ended up looking at like a flickering to it. So this is what I went with. But anyway, it just gets the screen every 30 milliseconds. So, you know, not really a big deal, right?
You want to show them the code?
Yeah. Okay. So it got a little bit out of hand. I mean, I have this game state struct, which is like abysmal, and I need to stop. Yeah, there's a lot of Go mess in here. This basically just handles like how things should update. I have a player that we do some physics on, you know, the works. On the back end, it's basically a regular game loop, but it just spins it off into its own Go routine for each client that connects. So, and I don't think they get deleted, so. But yeah, you can see all the different calls that go on. I mean, I tried to optimize the amount of text that was coming on each frame. So some come in at different intervals, and you know, just to like, I mean, the score comes in on a different interval than the rest of it because it just doesn't update that quick. Where are we at?
Where did we go? Oh, no. You didn't see that?
What happened?
Oh, here we are.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, I mean, if you guys are playing this, it's not really that bad, although I did have to put a Linode in Seattle, so that's the only way it's playable. Because if you really wanted to do this, you do have to have multi-region deployments, and I did do that, but yeah, I mean, it's relatively easy to write. There's simple multiplayer, multi-session, whatever you want to do. But the cons are, obviously, the network requests are a little bit unhinged. And it also just requires a server to make an HTMX game. And session management is a little bit annoying. I can't actually kill the clients. Like, you guys can just keep on making requests as long as you want. And yeah, it's got some problems.
So we put our heads together and we thought there's definitely drawbacks and there's definitely strengths. But we thought for minutes upon minutes, possibly even tens of minutes, how can we leverage these strengths and minimize these drawbacks? And we came up with the mathematically perfect solution. HTMX Pong, the most powerful video game of all time, rendered in the most powerful web, it's not a framework, web library of all time. Everyone, please hit up link 2. Link 2, there we are. So then you can do 2-player matchmaking, just click 2-player, and then it'll find a person to play against you. Otherwise, you can just play single player, and it's totally playable, absolutely works. I'm playing with a random person from out in the audience right now. Getting crushed, please. 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 You know what, actually, I make games, I don't really play them, so if I'm not very good, that just talks about how good I am as a software engineer, really. Honestly, let's be honest here. So anyway, we came up with that. It's shockingly easy to write. I will show you I'll show you the go.mod. You'll notice there is not a single dependency. And on the front end, all my templates, The only thing we bring in is htmx.js. There is nothing else. What you see is what you get. And the main.go is a little unruly, I'm not gonna lie. There's a handful of endpoints here, and we're able to get it working because everyone's game state runs on a single thread, and we decouple the logic of that thread from the handling of the HTTP request so that so one player isn't going to be locked on when another player has a slow network connection by using Go channels. It's very nice. And then here's the reading of the Go channels, big ol' select statement that goes into a switch case that has a couple of go-tos. That's another talk, why go-tos are perfectly okay in Go, and I don't care what your opinions are. Then we got a little game logic here, and this, as game logic goes, honestly, is not so bad. And, there we are. So what we've done is we have maximized the benefits, and all of these cons, they don't matter. The tons of network requests, it's a multiplayer game. There's gonna be network requests. It's multiplayer. Requires a server, duh. What are we doing? Session management is annoying? Session management's always annoying. It's multiplayer. It's a multiplayer game. What are you gonna do? What do we got? Pros, all the same. Cons, okay. Oh, HTMX is literally the perfect platform. But let's be serious here, guys. Guys, let's be real. There are some real drawbacks. You got your network latency. You have to deploy to multi-region. I was frantically last night spinning up a Cloudflare in like San Francisco to get, or not Cloudflare, DigitalOcean in San Francisco to get this thing so it would be almost playable here. Control limitations, you got on key down, you got on key up. That's about it. No one's really plugging in an Xbox controller to play HTMX Pong. So,
yeah, so this is what applications Twitter thinks you can make with HTMX. And it's a bit underwhelming. But this is what we think you can technically make in HTMX.
Yeah, after this, we have proven that you can make anything in HTMX. Real-time, okay, maybe not a real-time multiplayer game. That one was maybe not the best thing, but a real-time single-player game, also probably a poor choice. But a turn-based multiplayer game, a turn-based single-player game, it's not a problem. How many frames per second do you need?
Yeah?
What are you, a frame per second hog? Who cares? It's fine. High complexity web app, you're not making a spreadsheet in HTMX. I'm sorry. You're not making a spreadsheet in HTMX, I know. But like, store item listing, we were in 30 FPS in a game. Store item listing, how many FPS do you need? Come on. And then, of course, a basically static website. Everyone knows, everyone loves. It's the bread and butter. Let's go. So, yeah, thanks, everyone, for... This is the part where you interrupt me, remember? Thanks, everyone. We're done with this talk, and it's over. Hit the button.
But wait. We have more. Don't worry. So how can we make the latency a non-issue? Well, WebSockets. So with the fact that you're using WebSockets, you don't need the other part of the return trip whenever you make the request. The server can handle all of that. But yeah, it allows you to have full control over the rate of transactions, which we don't have with Flappy Bird. There's no polling, so it's great in that regard. It's just a little more asynchronous, and that's always nice. And less network traffic.
And we thought for seconds about this. We could not come up with a single con. I'm talking 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Couldn't come up with a single con. WebSockets are perfect.
Okay, and I'm also developing a HTMX WebSockets library for Go, and it's compatible with Fiber and Gorilla sockets, so pretty nice to just plug into your project if you want to have kind of a socket I/O interface. And closing thoughts? Here's all the links to these projects on GitHub. I mean, if you want to take a picture of that or...
Yeah, OCR it. OCR technology is really good. Throw that through ChatGPT. You'll get all those links. Don't worry about it. Everything will be cool. Does anyone have any questions, comments? We got a few minutes left. Yes. All right, the question was scaling issues. We don't think about scaling issues here. I'm a Go programmer, and scaling just means writing it in Go and then thinking nothing's going to go wrong. It'll probably be fine. Theoretically, if we were smarter programmers, we would say that the biggest problem, especially in a multiplayer game, is going to be keeping everything in sync by backing it by a database or a Redis or whatever, and then you end up with a whole bunch of nonsense. So, I mean, geolocating closer to your users and having multiple places where you're deployed to is probably about as much scaling as you're going to get out of this.
Horizontal scaling is going to happen.
Yeah. Yes. Who hurt me? That's the topic of a totally different talk at a totally different conference. Anyone else? Anyone else? Yes.
Do you have any future abuse plans, like maybe a spreadsheet for next year, or what is that?
Any future abuse plans, like possibly a spreadsheet for next year?
I actually do. I would like to make a Doom clone in HTMX with WebSockets. So I'm going to figure out how that works. I saw someone do it entirely in HTML, and I was really impressed. I'm like, man, I could do that.
Yes.
So, obviously these projects, you were going into it not thinking oh, this is going to be a commercial product or anything, right?
How dare you?
I do this all the time as well. I kind of have to, convince myself that it's a learning experience. Do you see it as, a valuable learning experience to go through all this and kind of, it's something that you would never do in, a workspace environment?
I think one of the toughest things that people will do when they're trying to come up with a project, and it's like a mental block that's introduced in people's heads, is they're trying to learn something and they want to build a project to leverage some new technology, and they end up being locked behind their own brain because they're thinking, someone's already done this, this isn't going to be useful, whatever. But if you can just take out one of those blocks, someone has already done this, by doing something so obviously stupid that no one in their right mind has ever even considered it, then that is a great way to just get into doing a project that, that in your mind you don't have that block of well, I'm just going to have a worse version of what somebody else did. It's no. This is the best HTMX Pong in the world. I can tell you that 100% certain. And I think coming from looking at projects and looking at ideas for learning from that perspective makes it a lot easier. It's kind of my long philosophical answer to a silly question. No, I'm playing. Yeah, absolutely. You do enough mental gymnastics doing a bunch of stuff that makes no sense, and then eventually you learn enough about the universe and the world that you become hireable, and then you get your either a Lamborghini or some shelves, however that works.
And honor of Harambe.
Yes.
Rest in peace.
Thank you.
That was great. Should I just double?